Okay, I have to keep this short. Okay, I suddenly saw the new trailer. I guess it's the first trailer, as far as I've seen, for Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. The first Puss in Boots movie is actually pretty darn good. It's getting old at this point, isn't it? But anyway, if you haven't watched that, go ahead and check it out. Like, the story is fine. It does have a slightly different tone from the Shrek movies, despite the fact that they're both part of what Universal and DreamWorks are now calling the Shrek universe, which is a little also confusing here is the fact that the executive producer on the project is Chris Meledandri of Illumination Entertainment, who I hate. I hate Illumination. I don't know if I personally hate this dude who heads up Illumination, but I feel like I would. Anyway, not important right now because I saw the trailer. I've been watching the trailer, and boy, oh boy, my goodness. Storyline, whatever. The premise is fine. In general, I would say that the trailer is more stylish than what we tend to get for plenty of animated movies these days. This says coming soon at the end of the trailer, but then in the description it releases on September 23rd, so we've got quite a while to wait. But the headline here is that, good lord, the art direction here and the production design here are really nice. Really nice, at least in my opinion. And okay, so here's the thing. It still feels relatively new, but it's not completely new, because the core of what's happening here is a combination of, obviously, CG models, character models, environments, but then the way that different things are textured is all 2D stuff. They're pulling in elements of just 2D illustration, painting, sketching, etc., and putting them, integrating them with CG elements. We saw it in Mitchell's vs. the Machines. We saw it in Spiderverse. We haven't seen it a ton in Pixar stuff and Disney stuff outside of some short films that they've done. What is it? The paper short film Office one, blah, blah. They incorporate, 2D art with the 3D models and things. It's happening here. It's happening here in full force. And this is also something I've been talking about for a little while now, but like the gap between concept art and finished product is growing smaller seemingly all the time. And I'm sure it's a choice for many productions too. Some of them don't want it to necessarily look painted. They don't want it to look as dramatic as concept art can look sometimes. But here, I'm just going to be showing screen caps that I got from this trailer throughout, because my goodness, my goodness, especially when it comes to backgrounds. Obviously, they're using really shallow focus on a lot of these shots. Puss and the Salma Hayek cat, whose name I forget, they both still look like the exact same character models as before. The same style anyway, is what I'm saying. They might have been updated a bit. And many of the other mainline characters are antagonists here, some other stuff. And in fact, there's one screen cap here I'll show you that the environment shown here and just the general vibe is my least favorite thing that I've seen in the trailer, just because it's pure CG land. You don't get any of that painted look from it really, but just about everywhere else, especially backgrounds, painted everything, digitally painted, obviously, but you know what I mean. It has that look. It looks like we are using paint. You can see brush strokes. You can see not imperfections, but just suggested detail rather than detail that's 100% present. There's a scene with a bunch of flowers in the background, definitely borrowing a lot from Impressionist painting, I assume, because that's where my brain goes when I think of blurry flower paintings. Feel free to correct me. But otherwise, just tons of great backgrounds. What the shot where it's probably most prominent here is it's one of Puss's deaths. It's when he's lifting weights and he dies there apparently. But my gosh, everything there, even stuff that's like really prominently in the foreground or that Puss is directly interacting with, just looks completely painted, and it's great. It's great. There was a chance, I feel like, if someone told me about this approach before I'd seen the trailer, I might have wondered whether it works or whether it takes me out of it, whether it feels too like storybooky for its own good. But based on everything I've seen here, there's a very clear separation between where they want to draw our eye to what we're supposed to be paying attention to in the moment, and then surrounding elements, background elements. Obviously, I already mentioned the focus. And just, I don't know, having that like brushstroke style stuff in the background, it also it takes your attention away from it unless you're specifically really looking and paying attention at it. Otherwise, your eye is drawn to more or less center of frame where the action is. They use lighting quite a bit as well to focus our attention on a specific character or an aspect of a scene. Also, just in terms of animation, I don't know whether I'll be able to show this effectively without getting copyright claimed, but specifically in that, like, it seems to be an opening action sequence where Puss is taking on some like Dark Souls monster guy, plant mountain man, and the really heavy action stuff. There are very few frames of animation, right? And that leads into, this style has also been used pretty extensively in Spiderverse, Mitchell's vs. the Machines, Lego Movie, chopping out frames or just not animating certain frames and not even smearing. Like, we don't even really get smear frames for some of this action stuff. You just get a handful of frames that really translate the motion incredibly well, and then it's done. And I will say that that's the one thing that feels a little bit potentially distracting. I'm on board. It is very trendy right now. How it's going to hold up over time is another question entirely. But for the moment, I really like it. And also just, my gosh, especially in that action sequence bit, just the framing and it's really great. It's really great. I'm gushing, which is why I have to stop because it's already too much. But yeah, I mean, share your thoughts. I'm just kind of on board so far. Also, I'll put up the names of this guy here is the art director on the project, and then this guy here is the production designer. So I have to assume both of these folks have played a very large role in how this movie looks. I haven't looked up the concept artist yet, but I'd love to see that work as well. So far, very, very impressed. The story seems fine. Again, like, we'll see if that end of the equation really holds everything else up. But for the moment, it just seems like a decent action adventure movie with more style and care put into the visuals than we tend to get at all. And that's that. Thanks for stopping by.